Mwende Gatabaki of Safina and independent candidate Patrick Wainaina. We're going to be keeping tabs on that as we proceed in this particular broadcast, and we are streaming on our various social media platforms, including Facebook there and YouTube Live. Now to the corridors of justice. 4 police officers have been charged with the murder of Wycliffe Owuor, the man suspected to have been the mastermind of the 72 million shillings ATM heist in Nairobi Kayole's area in 2019. The police officers, who took plea without undergoing mental assessment, pleaded not guilty before Justice Grace Nzioka. The case will be mentioned on the 21st of June, with a hearing set for 17th August this year.
The 4 police officers include Corporal Joseph Ojode Obambam and Constables Henry Mutai, Bashir Ali and Charles Kirimi were on Tuesday morning arraigned in charge virtually before Justice Grace Nzioka on the count of murder. It's alleged that on the 24th of March this year, the 4 police officers killed Wycliffe Owuor at Kayole Junction in Nairobi after he defied orders to surrender. The late Owuor was out on a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings in a case where he is alleged to have been the mastermind in a 72 million Kenya shillings money heist in Nairobi West ATM in 2019. The case will be mentioned on the 21st of June, with the hearing set to kick off on the 17th of August this year. Meanwhile, the court has frozen a Standard Chartered Bank account belonging to Isabel Nyegothi Wanjohi, an employee with a Platinum Credit Limited, for failure to disclose the source of 115 million Kenyan shillings found in her account. Isabel says she received the money as a loan from Platcorp Holdings Limited, registered in Mauritius, but its purpose was not revealed. The Asset Recovery Agency believes the account was being used as a money laundering conduit.
With 62 days left to the general election, the media has been put to task to ensure access to election-related information is available in a timely manner for the electorate. Speaking during a media forum on elections, Media Council of Kenya CEO David Omoyo said the industry has to exercise integrity and fairness in the dissemination of information relevant to the elections.
If we miss that, we could spend years and years and hours in here discussing transparency and elections, but as long as people do not trust the processes, we will end up in the street. Also reminding the media from time to time about the ethics, the principles of balance and objectivity, and making sure that people can see and trust that we are balanced and objective.
Sentiments echoed by Katiba Institute's Executive Director Christine Nkonge, who said that the rule of law can only survive if there is an open government and free media to inform the public. Nkonge are calling on media institutions to exercise fact-checking and carry out relevant civic education.
We recognize the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and rule of law.
41% of Kenyans believe media covered the last elections freely and fairly. I hope the deliberations today and the process to follow and the ongoing process in other meetings all over the country will reflect on how this number can be improved in this election cycle.
Kenyans will have a chance to select the leaders of their choice from MCS to the president in the August 9th polls.
Well, clearly this just was an update of what was happening yesterday during the media summit on election, where the media has been called to ensure transparency and fairness in coverage of political functions in the run-up to the elections and even during the elections. Remember, further details of these stories and more are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now let's have a recap of what was happening at the floor of the House yesterday, where Parliament raised the debt ceiling by 1 trillion shillings to cap it at 10 trillion shillings, even as a section of legislators questioned the timing of the move. The debate on the motion, moved by Majority Party leader Amos Kemunya, degenerated into a political tussle between legislators allied to the Azimio la Umoja camp and those supporting the Kenya Kwanza faction.
It was a shouting match in Parliament Tuesday afternoon as legislators debated a motion to increase the country's debt ceiling to 10 trillion shillings. According to Majority Party leader Amos Kimunya, who moved the motion, the raise will act as a cushion to the incoming government as the budget policy statement had already surpassed the ceiling.
We are in this situation where we cannot do a budget for this country now unless we adjust our financing limitation that we put on ourselves.
Kimunya claiming increasing the debt ceiling was the only option to finance the next budget without hurting Kenyans through increase of taxes.
I believe within the measures taxation measures that are being proposed was to raise an extra 57 billion over and above what we were collecting last year. But this House has also looked at some of those measures and said they hurt the common man. They increase the ordinary pain of the ordinary Kenyan.
If you have a salary of 10,000 shillings, maybe you can borrow up to 7,000 shillings. But Honorable Speaker, if your salary increases to 20,000, you have the latitude of borrowing up to maybe 15,000 shillings. So when we grow our wealth in terms of the GDP, then it means also that we also need to have more legroom for borrowing.
The proposal by Treasury through the House leadership eliciting mixed reactions.
Let us approve this motion as we caution the present administration and the incoming one that it must utilize public debt in a responsible manner, the Speaker, that adds value to the Kenyan people.
Before you tell us how much you are borrowing, earmark for us the specific projects that you intend to utilize that public debt on. Today, Honorable Speaker, we are increasing our debt to 10 trillion shillings and we cannot earmark projects where this money will go into.
If you're not transparent about the things that you're investing in, then you are not borrowing wisely. And if you're not borrowing wisely, you should not be allowed to borrow.
The public debt shall not exceed 10 trillion shillings, close the quotes. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it.
In the end, the special motion sailed through, paving way for the consideration of the appropriations bill that authorizes the issuance of monies out of the consolidated fund for 2022-2023 financial year.
The government intends to spend 3.3 trillion shillings in the financial year 2022-2023. And now this it gives the government, the incoming as well as the current, some wiggle room to take care of matters of development and such. We'll be keeping tabs on that particular issue. Now we cross over to matters of food safety, where the government has set aside 10,000 acres of the production of fodder at the Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme. Livestock Principal Secretary Harry Kimutai says the fodder is set to complement maize production at the scheme to make Galana a more viable venture and reduce the cost of dairy production.
The irrigation scheme is a 1 million acre project that has been under development since 2015 in a bid to reduce food insecurity in the country. The government has so far identified 5,000 acre model farm for production of maize, beans and potatoes, among other foods. The Ministry of Agriculture now says it has set aside 10,000 acres for production of fodder in a bid to deal with the shortage during the dry season. The government says it wants to complement the maize production at the Galana Kulalu with fodder to make the scheme more profitable.
Cost of production of maize, because it requires a lot of logistics, storage and all these things, had to come in because they had to transport all the way to the National Cereals and Produce Board. But with the forage, I think we just need to store it well within the open fields and cover it, and then start supplying to the various farmers.
The fodder farm is expected to reduce the cost of animal feeds in the country that has spiraled due to the drought and the Russian-Ukraine war. This has led to a spike in milk prices by 30%.
Because we shall need what is called the high crude protein fodder like Lucerne, Alpha, in those areas, which are very good for dairy production.
The government has further extended yellow maize importation window by another 6 months.
We shall now allow the GMO maize will be 99.01%. So with that, they will be able to get this yellow maize from international market.
The Agriculture Ministry further says a cabinet memo on genetically modified organism has been prepared as Kenya inches closer to commercialization of BT maize.
World Bank projects that Kenya's economy would this year slow to 5.5%, down from 7.5% in 2021, dragged by the knock-on impact of the Russia-Ukraine crisis as well as poor rains and risks associated with the August polls. The latest report by World Bank further indicates that high commodity prices would make imports expensive and exports are likely to be negatively affected by a projected slowdown in global growth. Kenya's economy staged a remarkable recovery from a contraction of 0.3% in 2020, a first in nearly 3 decades, to a growth of 7.5% in 2021, boosted by recovery from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic that saw all economic activities, save for agriculture, register positive growth. In its latest forecast, the World Bank has upgraded the projected growth for Kenya's economy for this year from an earlier figure of 4.9% to 5.5% on account of a stronger than expected recovery from the coronavirus pandemic last year. The World Bank projects that Kenya's economy would have grown by a higher figure, but is likely to be dragged by the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine that has driven up the prices of fuel, fertilizer and wheat. The report indicates that the war in Ukraine and subsequent sanctions on Russia are expected to subtract about 0.5 percentage points on Kenya's GDP this year and 0.3 percentage points in 2023, mainly due to indirect terms of trade losses. The World Bank projects that high commodity prices will increase import costs, while the projected slowdown in global growth will soften the demand for Kenyan exports. In 2021, all sectors of the economy, save for agriculture, registered growth, and the World Bank projects a slowdown in the agriculture sector to persist this year due to poor rains and higher farm input costs. The report indicates that this is likely to increase food insecurity and in turn drive up poverty levels, as a large proportion of the population rely on the sector for their livelihoods. Now from the business sector, we look at Marta Sports, where 3 foreign-based players are expected to link up with the national men's cricket team this week ahead of the 50-over World Cricket League matches scheduled between the 12th to the 20th of June in Kampala, Uganda. Kenya is set to host Uganda, Tanzania, and Jersey Island, Bermuda, and Hong Kong, as well as Italy.
The trio consists UK-based duo wicket-keeper Irfan Karim and batsman Tanzil Sheikh and Uganda-based batsman Alex Obanda. According to head coach David Obuya, the players are expected to join the rest of the team, which departs to Kampala on Friday.
With a positive mind, where we stand in the log doesn't look too good because we are around second last in the log. So we look to play well in Uganda, win all the games, then push to the number 1 position. And then now we've got also another chance coming in a month's time in Jersey, and also look to play well so that we can qualify for the World Cup.
We are optimistic that we're gonna do well in Uganda because we need to win most of the games for us to get a chance to qualify for that World Cup.
And the team, which has been in camp for a month now, is a blend of youth and experience and is out for better results in the 8-day championship, bring together teams from Group 3 and 4.
Kenya is more senior because having played more World Cup than any other team on those associate teams you're going to play with. So I think Kenya is ranked high there. We are number 1 ranked according also to the ranking. So we need the boys to pull up their socks and play well so that we can maintain our status. Yes. Working on in the squad is especially the middle orders, playing spin. I've been focusing a lot on playing spin. That's where we've been not doing well, especially in the 50-over game, in the middle overs, and that's what we've been focusing on for the last 1 month. And I think now the boys are ready.
South Africa-born Kenyan batsman Neil Mugabe is hopeful of earning his debut cap after featuring for Stray Lions in the local league.
So I grew up in SA. I played for the provincial teams in Pretoria from under 11 to under 19. And then after high school, I went to the academy, Titans Academy. But because I'm Kenyan by birth, Kenyan documents, I was not able to progress. So the chance came for me to come here to play for Stray and to hopefully make the national team.
Head coach Obuya intimated that he is out to build a 30-member squad from which he will draw players from, adding that this will increase the competition for places in the squad.
I've been looking at for the next 2 years is to build a strong squad, not a team, a squad of 30 players, whereby I can pick out of the 30 players whoever, and not being worried that he cannot fit in the shoes of someone who is replacing.
2 top teams from the championship will stay on course for qualification for the ICC World Cricket League Group 3. The ICC World Cricket League was created in 2007 to provide regular playing opportunities for similar standard ICC associate members in an international 50-over competition structure. The ICC World Cricket League currently includes 5 divisions.
Well then, that puts a cap on Martyrs News this morning. Remember, further details in regard to those stories that have been making headlines in the political scene, Martyrs Business, as well as the sporting arena are available on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. We're not dusted this morning. We have the dailies with us in studio, and my colleagues are going to be skimming through those particular dailies to just bring you up to speed with what scribes have captured as our trending stories this Wednesday morning. So do keep it right here.
All right, let's now get to have a quick look at the dailies. As always, a copy of the Daily Nation, starting off with the main read. Ruto Raila power sharing headache. Pictured therein some of the leaders that are, have associated themselves with these 2 particular leaders from their individual camps. And they go on to call it as a Game of Thrones, with both of them having ambitious people that surround them. And this ambition is tethered to their proximity to these particular leaders, and them ascending to particular offices or positions within the government should either of these 2 leaders actually win the race towards the presidency. That story has been covered across page 12 and 13 of this daily. We can always give you details as we proceed on. Away from that, of course, that story concerning Mike Sonko has also been featured here. Day of drama as aspirants seek IEBC nod. Governor aspirants across the country were yesterday caught in a mad rush to seek final clearance by the IEBC to vie. In Mombasa, Mike Sonko argued that he had appeals pending in court and therefore should be allowed to vie pending determination. Elsewhere, Sakaja was cleared to vie in Nairobi, Irungu Kangata in Murang'a, Cleophas Malala in Kakamega, and Muthoni Njuki in Tharaka Nithi. Finally, no, I will not ban Mitumba. These are the words of Raila Odinga when in response to some attacks that he got from critics who say misinterpreted what he was saying during the launch of his manifesto. Monday evening, he went on to say that he would actually empower the Mitumba traders in our country to get to a point where they can actually manufacture these products and clothes from within the country and not necessarily have to export. Details in just a bit. Victor.
Very well, and on the front page of the Star, Raila's pledges to cost 400 billion shillings annually. Kanini Kega says that the agenda is viable given that Kenya loses billions of shillings every year due to corruption. DP allies tear into the blueprint, terming it hot air and unrealistic. All right, and on the second page here, queries raised over 14 subjects in junior high school. MPs say that subjects meant for the learners might be burdensome. The compulsory subjects are English, Kiswahili, Maths, Integrated Science, Health Education, Pre-Technical Education, Social Studies, Religious Education, Business Studies, Agriculture, Life Skills, and Physical Education. And optional subjects are Visual Arts, Performing Arts, Home Science, Computer Science, Foreign Languages, Sign Language, and Indigenous Languages. Now, learners are given an opportunity to choose a minimum of one subject and a maximum of two, depending on their interests and abilities. All right, and Raila's manifesto to cost 400 billion shillings. That is a story that's fleshed out there for you on the fourth page and fifth one. In detail, you can take a look at that. And finally, on sports, time to focus. Shujaa begin Commonwealth Games camp next week amid tight schedule. That is according to the team manager Eric Ogweno, who said yesterday that the camp will run for 5 weeks before the team departs for the club games in Birmingham, that is in England. So the 7th tournament will run from July 29th to 31st for both the men's and women's teams. That is what's on the Star newspaper. Doreen.
MPs approve act to increase the ceiling of debt to 10 trillion. That is what you're waking up this morning on the front page of the PD. That is moving it up from the current that was 9 trillion now to 10 trillion. We obviously also had that story this morning on the GMK news brief. So this, just as the legislators were approving this, they say that the Kenya's GDP is increasing, and so this gives the state the latitude to borrow more cash from foreign lenders. And again, this is just in a way to see how they're going to finance the budget. That is the 3.3 trillion budget. Remember that as of last year, December, we were at 8.6 trillion in terms of public debt, and this budget, constituted of an 846 billion deficit. So that is what is happening there in terms of that approval by the members of parliament to the debt ceiling, and also IBC's bid to change polls have now been rejected by the same members of parliament, where the commission chairperson, that is Wafula Chebukati, had moved to parliament to see if MPs are going to approve the amendments that have been put forth, key among them being issues to deal with registration of voters, voter education, party nomination, party lists, and use of technology. This is actually part of what had been recommended when the nullification of the presidential elections were done by the former Chief Justice, that is David Maraga, to just see how best the commission can conduct free and fair elections. But going by what the legislators said, this is the fact that these regulations did not and do not conform with the constitution, and that is why they shunned, or better still, did not amend those changes that the IEBC had recommended. And also, disqualified aspirants now seek to overturn Chebukati's decision in court. These were those that the IEBC disqualified in terms of the presidential elections, key among them being Ekuru Aukot, there's Reuben Kigame, Jimmy Wanjigi, and remember that largely good number of them were disqualified on the issue of the signatures, the 48,000 copies of IDs, and also the degrees not being certified. And what Reuben Kigame is now saying is that given the fact that IBC did not treat him well, particularly as someone living with disability, and he said that also did not give him the dignity and respect that he deserves. This is part of why he is also going to be moving to court. And lastly, to some bit of health matters, there's at least good news for cancer patients, particularly those with colorectal cancer. This is even as a new drug has been discovered in the US. This drug, as is being said by medics, it has the immense potential to treat colorectal cancer, and so this has now caused excitement in the country and also largely within the medics, as going by the recent statistics, which just shows that 47,000 new cases of cancers is what the country records every year, with the death rate rising to about 30,000 annually. Regina. A quick overview of this particular daily. I have a copy of the Standard, and it puts into question the conversation about mitumba trade, the good, the bad, and the ugly. According to the KNBS statistics, at least mitumba trade accounts for 2% of the extended labor force. We're looking at millions of people who benefit directly and indirectly from the mitumba trade. This came up after the Azimio la Umoja unveiled its manifesto, and now we have seen the flag bearer Raila Odinga come out to say that he was misquoted in his statement in regard to that, but now that rather than focuses on empowering the manufacturing sector and looking at what government has been doing in regard to reviving the textile industry. Remember, in 2017 the government revived a myriad of projects around matters of textile, with Rivertex and such, to just ensure that we buy Kenya and build Kenya under that particular campaign. And there was also talk and somewhat a directive that has seen fade away over the last few months, is that Friday, those in formal employment get to don in African attire, to just try and promote that particular industry. If we still do, maybe that's just at a handful of numbers. So that's a story that has taken center stage in this particular daily, as well as matters of business in regard to the availability or lack of the dollar, the dollar shortage. Now it's blame game. Who do we blame? CBK says we have enough reserves, or the banks have enough reserves to take us through. But businesses, as you've seen over the last few days, saying that their imports, they cannot import because the commercial banks have capped the dollar in as far as them wanting to purchase. So we might actually be having a dollar crunch, or rather there is already one. Blame game. Who's to blame? Now 62 days to the general elections, and we are down to 4 presidential candidates from the 57, and this follows the IBC vetting of those who had vied various top seats, including the presidency. Now at the top we have, and this is what this particular daily has, it's a varied cast from a one-time spy cum lawyer. I'd want you to guess who this is. 2 tested politicians and a perennial aspirant. Yes, a one-time spy cum lawyer, 2 tested politicians, and a perennial aspirant. That's what we have in as far as the top 4 who are eyeing the top seat come August 9th. I'm sure you're familiar with them. If not, well, you can get this particular copy or even check our website there. There's quite a story here that has gone further to look at the academic qualifications of the top 4 presidential aspirants there, as well as their achievements, other than just, the academic qualifications there. Quite interesting there. I did not know that Wajakoya was a spy, but well, it's good to read. It's a good read to get to know exactly who are those that are eyeing the top seat come August 9th. Now, talking about matters of fiscal policy, is that legislators yesterday raised the country's debt ceiling to 10 trillion to give the government wiggle room. The current as well as the incoming government, they are moved by Majority Leader Amos Kemunya there, who argued that government needs to, this is a move to cushion the incoming government, and also enable it meet its obligation, given that the budget, the finance bill had already been passed, and the BPS that was going to, define government spending, where government intends to spend a cool 3.3 trillion shillings for the financial year 2022-2023, with KRA, or rather the taxman, given a target of 2.1 trillion shillings, and looking at its trend, well, it might miss that score, so we need to also bridge the plug the deficit there by borrowing locally and externally there. To the big read in this particular daily, and this is about matters of succession politics. We've said we're just 62 days away from the August 9th polls. So poll integrity, NIS secret, Ruto takes on KBC. So Kibisho has been quoted there. What he said, his utterances made on the eve of Madaraka Day. He's quoted, it is a first round win for Raila Odinga. This is intelligence, NIS data, and that is what it is saying. It is about 60%. Yes. And now, Ruto and his camp are calling for investigations into Kibisho's utterances, and they want the NIS Complaints Board to probe Interior PS Karanja Kibisho for abuse of national intelligence to advance partisan political agenda. The PS was quoted claiming that NIS reports showed Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate would secure a 60% first round win in the August 9th polls. Details are indeed fleshed out for you here in this particular daily. And if I can just read a sentence or two. Now, following that, the party is calling for investigations by the board to find if Kibisho's utterances were based on official NIS reports and whether the NIS Director General authorized the report. The Director General there being a Major General Philip Kamwero. If he had authorized the report, UDA also wants to know what remedial measures have been taken, and unless the board or the office of the Director General of an NIS provides a reasoned and acceptable finding or explanation to the complaint herein within 14 days of this letter, the complainant shall pursue further legal action to safeguard a peaceful electoral process that now stands compromised by the unlawful, unconstitutional and reckless use of intelligence. Now, this is according to the UDA, or rather UDA political party, that wants these particular utterances probed, and this is through their lawyer Elias Mutuma in a letter dated June 7th. We'll be keeping tabs on that, but just as we said, this is just but a sneak peek as to what scribes have captured as trending stories, to just look into what is happening across the globe. There's the issue of gun ownership, especially in the United States, with glaring statistics. Just to sample but a few, it indicates that there have been at least 246 mass shootings in the U.S. through June this year. So technically this means that, 246 is more than the number of days that we have had up until the June 5th. And this, 246 mass shootings have happened in schools, at the mall and such, and this is the worst record since the Gun Violence Archive began tracking mass shootings. Further details are available on our website that is very much active for your viewing and perusal, www.kbc.co.ke. I'm Regina Manyara, and I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.
Kill all of you to avenge our fallen Celestials.
As long as I'm the Avian King, I'll never surrender. Today, it will be the end of you.
Kisii County is majorly known for its bananas and has been thriving on soapstone.
Kisii candidates are gearing up for the next governor of this county. What is their agenda for Kisii? Don't miss the Kisii County gubernatorial debate from Kisii University this Thursday on the 9th of June, exclusively on KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m.
Tonight, it ain't about wins, and it's sure the hell ain't about losses. It's about pain.
Hillman Jr. has cut some weight competing here in the middleweight division. Right now, it's showtime.
Minutes to the top of the hour. Time for us to quickly look at how our roads are looking like this morning. And as I mentioned earlier, our focus is on State House Road as well as Kipanda Road, being one of those, or better still, two of those major slip roads here in the city centre. Gets to branch off from the major University Way roundabout, and perhaps you can just begin from that specific roundabout before we get to our two roads of focus this morning. This is how the roundabout is looking like. Not so bad at all, moving at quite a swift pace. Just a slight build up as you head over to areas of Waiyaki Way. And again, remember that this is largely also what informed the construction of the expressway, particularly on these two major roads, areas of Waiyaki Way as well as Mombasa Road, just to ease traffic flow in these specific areas. And so this is how it is looking like, at least as of now, around the roundabout. As I mentioned, not bad at all. Slight of a build up as you branch off to areas heading over to Waiyaki Way on that section, but as you leave the roundabout coming through Uhuru Highway, not bad at all as well, moving at a swift pace. And the beauty is that this is actually being witnessed on both lanes of Uhuru Highway. And also as you branch off to the other side of University, we are still not bad at all as you head over to areas around Globe roundabout, moving at a swift pace. So again, for our viewers living areas of Thika Superhighway, this is a good time for you, because right now on both sections of this route, as I mentioned, moving at a swift pace there, so green all through, which is a clear indicator of that. Coming to the roads that we're going to be focusing on today, this is State House Road as well as Nyerere Road. Right now, still moving at a clear swift pace. Again, one of those also very good alternative routes if you're leaving areas of Valley Road, Kenyatta, Mbagathi Way, Ngong Road, coming to the city centre, and perhaps you do not want to do that heavy kind of traffic on areas of Uhuru Highway. So this will still serve as a very good alternative route for you. But again, also remember that State House Road only caters for private vehicles as well as motorcycles, so it does not have provision for public vehicles. So this is specific for our viewers who are, or motorists who are using that mode of transportation. That is along State House Road. On the other side of Nyerere, still not bad at all, moving at a swift pace. That is again also being witnessed on both lanes of this particular stretch. On the other side of State House Road as well, still not bad at all as you branch off to Milimani Road. On that section, again, moving at a swift pace, green all through. Clearly this morning there's barely any kind of heavy traffic on most of these roads in which we're checking at. On the other side of Uhuru Highway as well, not bad at all. Where there's really heavy kind of traffic is around the Kenyatta Avenue roundabout. And again, this is why I was just talking about State House Road as well as Nyerere as one of those, better still two of those good alternative routes for you, particularly for viewers coming from those areas that I talked about. Could be Ngong Road, could be Kenyatta, Valley Road, Agwix Skodek, Mbagathi, as well as also Lagata Road if you're coming to the city center. Because look at this, the area along Uhuru Highway, in fact, not moving at all, at a standstill, heavy kind of traffic there, particularly on that lane that is leaving the Kenyatta Avenue roundabout, going all the way to sections of Uhuru Highway. On the other side, not bad at all. So again, this is why State House Road as well as Nyerere could serve as very good alternative routes for our viewers coming from those areas. So that is how it is looking like this morning in terms of traffic, looking at those key roads of focus in which you're looking at today. That is State House Road as well as Nyerere Road.
And welcome back. It's now time for us to go straight to the main discussion here. Being a Wednesday, we all understand it's Ladies' Day. Should I say Ladies' Night? Not yet. Ladies' Day, all right? That will run until 12 a.m. But for now, let's get into the discussion. We all know that it's a political season and everybody is allowed to get into that field. And yes, I have got two ladies who are battling it out with their colleagues, that is the men. How is it like for them? It's a murky field, so to say. And one of us has decided to drop the mic and say, you know what, I'm going into that field of politics. I'm talking about Njambi Koikai, who is running for the Dagoretti South Member of Parliament seat, as well as Lucy Moria, who is running for Isiolo North Member of Parliament. Ladies, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let me start with you, Lucy, now that you're coming from the far north. Karibu to Nairobi. That's what you say. Tunaenda Nairobi. Ama mnaenda Kenya.
Tumekuja Kenya.
All right.
Yes.
How is it in those sides of Isiolo, politically speaking?
Politically speaking, first of all, I'll introduce myself.
Right.
I am Lucy Moria, contesting for Isiolo North constituency. We are like 15 people contesting.
Yes.
And I think we are 3 women this time for the first time. And I'm also a member of Azimio. I'm the Deputy National Treasurer.
Okay.
Also the coordinator of my party, that is BAS, the Evolution Empowerment Party.
Okay.
And all those are strengths for a woman to hold any position in those. Being in the national Azimio team is also not easy. So you got to struggle.
You got to struggle?
Yes.
All right. I'll come back to you briefly. Coming to you, Njambi, why are you leaving us?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you dropping the mic?
You make it sound so sad. I'm not dropping the mic. I think I'll be amplifying it in...
no, you did just twist it.
No. I'm not twisting it.
Right.
I think I'll be on a platform where I'll be amplifying more issues and representing my community in regards to different and various issues that we've been facing. Yes.
How is it so far? Dagoretti South, it's a tough region, part of Nairobi.
It is. But I'm also tough as nails, as you know.
Come on.
Yeah.
And how far are the campaigns, how to speak?
I mean, we're getting into the last stretch of it all, and it's not been easy, like she said.
Yes.
I'd like to reiterate that Kenyan politics has still, it still has a long way to go in terms of how women are treated when it comes to vying for political positions and political leadership. Because first of all, we need to also address the issue of cultures, taboos, and myths, and all those things that are accompanied by how opinions are shaped when women decide that they're vying or they're contesting for political leadership. In my case, for example, I've experienced a lot of misogyny, and I've also been judged on my status as a woman in regards to, are you married? You're also pretty young. And like I had this experience. I was on the ground one time, and I was sharing my manifesto and agenda. And this man came and said to me, unajua wewe ni mdogo sana. Unajua wewe ni mdogo sana, hata sijui kama unaweza ongoza watu.
Being dog is relative.
I know, right?
Once you've clocked past 18, that's it.
Yeah. And youth in Kenya, the appropriate age of youth in Kenya is in 18 to 35, right?
Yes.
So I believe if you're an ID holder, if you're young, and if you have a vision you can still lead. It doesn't matter whether you're young. And I don't think leadership should be based on age or gender.
Stigmatization still plays a key role.
It is, and it shapes opinions. And once that is done, trust me, that's how people are fixated on who they're going to vote. And besides, it doesn't really matter if you have a great manifesto or agenda for the people, as long as they're fixated on what they have.
That's it.
They have been, brainwashed. They have been brainwashed with. That just creates another situation altogether, and it makes it harder for women to actually vie, and women to actually. Women to advocate for themselves. So it makes it harder because, the ground is very, very hostile. And for the men, it's easier because those murky waters, they know how to navigate them. And once you attack women, it's easier for them.
But you also have to get into the murky waters and learn how to swim. I don't know how it's how it's like for you, more on the other side of northeastern.
Mine, it's
the north of Isiolo.
It's kind of the same.
Yes.
But I think even mine is worse because it's very, very far, like you're saying.
Right.
It's so much so patriarchal. And first of all, congratulations, Jambi.
Thank you very
to have come this far.
Thank you.
Now we are not aspirants anymore.
We are candidates.
We are candidates.
Yes.
And even after getting the nomination papers, we are still getting it hard. So where I come from, first it starts with it's a negotiated democracy, where actually in those the wazee sit down and discuss and say to Mepitisha, we have endorsed, and in those vicaos there's no woman. There's no woman.
Isn't it so
There's
unfair
no woman.
that it's already premeditated?
It's already premeditated. And especially for single women.
Yes.
They don't even want to understand why are you single. You could be single by choice, but there are those women who are widowed. But then for them, they are not supposed to be existing. Like you said, who is your husband?
Yes.
Who is why did you divorce? You should be with him. He should be introducing you. Introducing me? That's my that's my dream, not somebody else's dream. Also, there is electoral gender violence, especially on the social media. On the women is so harsh. They have very intimidating language. It's so intimidating. They cannot stop. Like in my case, is already experiencing. They keep on saying she has stepped down for the man, for the men from the community. She's the one who is supposed to be stepping down.
But nonetheless, you just have to fight on.
I am still fighting. That's why I'm here right now. It's part of the fight.
How many are you?
We are 15.
Wait a minute. So you're going to have 15
candidates, yes.
The same ballot paper?
Yes. Actually, there were 17, but after the nominations, now we are 15.
That's a huge one. But
huge.
Looking at where you've come from, a lot of hurdles you've passed. The abuse you're talking about, the insults, the frustration, the intimidations.
Yes.
More so when you talk about the issue of patriarchal society.
Yes.
It plays out across the country as we speak, because there are some particular regions of this country where wazee wanakaa chini and they say that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know how it happens in Dagoretti South.
Well, for me, I would say because Dagoretti South is more of a cosmopolitan community.
Yes.
It's more of a cosmopolitan constituency. You have people from different areas and different backgrounds. So we don't have that issue of was there sitting down and discussing. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they have discussed
secretly somewhere.
Yeah, secretly somewhere. And they've decided Jambi is not the one. But I know that the people I am representing are going to vote for me, and I am fighting my way all the way to the top. I've already gotten the certificate, so I'm not really moved by what people say. I don't really focus on that, because they're just words at the end of the day. That doesn't stop me from campaigning. And at the end of the day, for me, it's to go and sell my manifesto to the people and tell the people what exactly I intend to do once I get into office. But it's quite important to note that in Nairobi it's different.
Yes,
it's very, very different, because we still have communities like where Lucy comes from. The Wazes have to sit down and discuss and say, this is the person we're going to vote for. And, they're like centralized, they're like the centralized democratization process of that area. And once they decide that this is the person, then they become the propaganda tool, they become the center, they become the center of command.
Like
exactly, yes.
And there's nothing you can do about it. So when we see women who are swimming against the tide in those areas and they have made it, let's support those women and let's congratulate those women. And congratulations to you, Lisa. It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
This reminds me, because anytime we go through the newspapers, we've seen that this particular election is going to be a unique one.
Right.
Because most of the governors, most of the senators, most women actually jumped into the political arena, and they're fighting it out with their fellow men. But then, what do you think is making ladies now all of a sudden to wake up and say, it's our time as well? Lucy?
I think a lot of lobbying and campaigns have been done by women like Mother Karua, who is really our
And she was an eye opener.
And she
Nobody saw that
was,
coming.
yes.
Right?
But she was in the cold like for 15 years. And now she is. That tells us women, do not give up. Just keep going, keep fighting, and do not stop. So Mother is where she is now. And like all over the country, like I've been in her campaigns, we've been going around with her, like around the mountain. Everyone is like, we are going to vote. This is time. This is the time. Even the women voters are waking up. Yes. Because part of it was also the women voters themselves. They have the issues with other women. But now they are saying, like, you know, you just need to ask them, who is this woman you are talking about? The woman is your daughter, is your sister. You know, what if it was your daughter who wanted to be the MP or the governor? Would you discourage her?
Exactly.
So that is a question to every man who has a child, who has a sister. It might not be my... Forget about your wife, because maybe that's the one you wouldn't imagine. But you have a sister, you have a mother, you have a daughter, you have granddaughters. How would you feel if it's them who are being intimidated that way? Some of them, like in my area, they have gone to an extent of coming up with songs. And these songs are sung and danced by women against another woman. Intimidation. Some cases are very serious.
That's politics. That's politics. You just have to play smart against your opponent.
No, but what we are saying is some of them believe like it's supposed to be like that.
Right.
Yeah, this place is not for you women. Hello, you're supposed to be, especially you're not married.
Yes.
Yeah. Which man is taking you there? Which man is endorsing you first?
It's not something strange, because even from where I come from, women will be judged by how many kids do you have? Are you married? Which part of the country are you married here? Do you come from a different region? It plays a very key role. But should that be an impediment in leadership?
No, it
shouldn't.
Right.
Actually, that's another huge where I come from.
Right.
Which clan are you married? Which tribe are you married?
Yes,
if like
clanism plays
a huge role. Also, the political parties themselves. But at least this time there was some law that you must have the tooth-ended joint, which some of them was just done just for the sake, just to make sure that it balances. But it's not from the real, because a lot of women I know who lost seats, they are good people, they are good leaders, and they just lost because they could not get the ticket. So, like I said, like the way I am in Azimio on the top at the council, it's not every party that can do that.
Not everybody.
Yeah, great thanks to my party, Governor Kireito, because this party, the BAS party, giving me the opportunity, you know, and many lost, many didn't. Yes.
Jambi, you know, the issue of clanism, it plays a key role. Wewe umetoka pande gani, umeona wapi, wewe ni bwanako nani? So if you take this position, will you go back with it to your home county where you came from? It creates a barrier between leadership and women.
Right.
Yes.
But nonetheless, you have to fight on.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
And I think, you know, all these isms and schisms, you know, are put in place just to deter women from vying or seeking political leadership. But that shouldn't be, it shouldn't, you know, make women fear or, you know, be, or intimidate women. I look at women like Grace Ogot, you know, women like Rose Warohio, women like Wangari Maathai, you know, women of, you know, yesteryears.
Martha Karua.
Martha Karua, you know. And look at... And
Julio Jambo.
You can imagine Martha Karua being a member of parliament for Geshogo at that age. And during that time when we did not even have the freedom, yet she went across the grain, she campaigned, you know, and she by herself, Charity Gilu,
trying to be president.
You know, those were women who actually had it even harder than we're having it now. And those are women who paved the way for most of us. But what I would like to say to, you know, women who have probably given up or who are afraid of all these isms and schisms and all these things that have been set up, you know, set in place just to deter them, is you have to be consistent and you have to fight and you have to be courageous and bold. And if you believe in it, keep going for it and keep fighting for it. Don't give up. And don't really focus on what people say. Because if those women focused on what the men were saying back then, we wouldn't be here today. Look at Wangari Maathai, for example. What didn't she face? you know,
humiliation,
she was tortured, she was beaten.
Exactly.
But this was a woman who was set out to, you know, to save the environment, and she actively engaged in awareness to teach the people about how to protect our environment in Kenya and internationally. And look at how far her efforts went to even winning a Nobel Peace Prize.
Gone,
Even after she's gone, we've never seen a leader like Wangari Maathai again. And
it's like she's still alive because you know, her spirit. People still talk about Wangari Maathai.
Exactly. And look at Martha Karua, for example. Look at her active role in fighting for justice, for example. And she's been consistent. And one thing about Martha Karua is that she's bold and very, very, very loyal to whatever she believes in. You know, many people may not agree with her, and those who agree with her believe that and know that she's very, very loyal and bold and consistent to her cause. And I do believe in anything we do as women, we have to be strong, courageous, and bold, and do not be afraid.
Jambi, do you believe in this statement that women, you're your own enemies?
Somehow, yes.
Somehow, sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't support one another because, you know, for us men, we'll say, bana niaje, twende. But
and like 62% of women they are the voters.
Right, and you know, it's also warped in very many things.
Yes.
For example, like we're talking about clanism, for example. When the men decide this is the person we're going with, remember that they also have a say in how those women are going to vote. They're the ones who say, you know.
Are women even invited in those clan meetings? They're not there.
They're not invited. Once the men decide,
the decisions are made.
But then it now forces you to fix yourself there and say, yes, gender-wise, we are different. But, you know, in leadership role, there's an open field for each and every person. But from where you come from, let me ask you, money plays a key role.
Actually, right now, it is who is what the muscle of money. It is what is Ana Pesa. She doesn't have the money. We need someone who can mobilize, who can go to other counties and bring crowd of people to come, resources generous. How many women have the resources? Very few. How would they get? Women have no titles, like in Isiolo. We do not even have titles. We do not have any property. You can get money from the bank, of course, without to guarantee you. So there's nothing to guarantee you. So no one will believe in you.
Yes.
Or how many buildings do you have? At some point, some clan meeting, there was a lady who was being asked, do you have 40 million? Someone, just a clan person, do you have? Then she
do you have 40 million?
Exactly, that's a question. Do you have 40 million? I may not have the 40 million,
yes,
but because I have the power, I know how I can lead, I know I can take Isiolo North to the next level. So what I need from Isiolo people, I need even the money from you for my logistics. I also need your votes. Yes.
Politics in Kenya, I'd like to say, is a very expensive affair.
It's not the issue. It's not. It's not issue oriented. Because even no one listens to your manifesto. No one listens.
It's a very systemic thing in that it's been made into, you know,
commercial.
It's been made to be very, very commercial. And, you know, as voters and as Kenyans, we don't really question the source of this wealth.
This money.
We never really question where this money is coming from. Because if you have, for example, an incumbent who's vying for the same position as an independent candidate, for example, the incumbent is bound to spend so much money to retain their seat. But are we really questioning how this money and where this money is coming from? For example, do we look at audited accounts of the CDF? Do we look at how, you know, how this money has been spent in the constituency? Do we look at the source of their wealth in order for them to be coming and splashing money in the communities? We don't. But what we are faced by is the 200, 500, you know, the merchandise and all of that.
And how serious are our systems, like EACC? Do we see them really being serious?
I'll get into that. And that it's now 8:01. Japi, please take it on a break. Good morning, Kenya, and we'll break back. Please. Hujasahau kazi yako.
Well, this is Good Morning Kenya. We take a break. We'll be right back with Victor and Lucy from Isiolo. Don't touch the dial. Right here on KBC TV, Channel 1.
All right.
wewe nimesema nikuje nikuwekelea kwa kamboni.
Uwekelea aje mimi ni pesa?
Uwekelee nani?
Sasa nikuambie, mimi sijui kama mtanisaidia mtu wangu aende rehabilitation.
Enga kawera
kila
unaongea na pipi yangu naona niletea ukali. Ati wewe una point nani? Una point nani?
Tulichaguliwa kama treasurer.
Na mimi si banki mheshimiwa.
Na tunaye shahidi mwingine.
Wewe kuna pesa ulichanga?
Hapana.
Very good. Unaweza tu toa kelele yako hapa upeleke kule unapelekanga uachane na mimi alone. Leave me mind your own business.
Wanna rule my destiny. Destiny. I wanna rule my destiny.
Oh yes. Teacher, you must be looking forward to holding your baby brother when he gets here.
Mwalimu, there is this one name that I've been longing and wanting to call a baby.
Come in. A baby or you a baby?
Julia, uliniona na mtoto wapi? Sina mtoto.
You see, Madam Antibella, thanks to you, I'm now a laughing stock in this school. I cannot even teach in peace.
Of course. How can you teach in peace when you come to school drunk every day, every morning?
I'm not drunk. Nanuka tu pombe ya jana.
Tonight, it ain't about wins. And the show of hell ain't about losses. It's about pain.
Jr. has cut some weight competing here in the middleweight division. Right now, it's showtime.
She won't give up.
And welcome back. Yeah. Si tunapika tu stories zetu hapa. Karibu sana. This is Good Morning Kenya. The Viewpoint today, I have got two ladies who are saying that they are going to fight it out nonetheless. It's a market field, quote unquote, meant for men. But is it? I don't think so. It's an open field for everyone. Jambi Koikai and Lucy Moria from Isiolo North and Dagoretti South as well. So, Jambi, to start with, the issue of resources in campaigns.
Yes.
Almost all my friends in the politics are saying that it's one hard thing to campaign and another to get the resources. How true is that?
It is. It is very, very hard to campaign without resources. And you can imagine, Victor, having to call your friends for a fundraiser and they're like, aye, for politics. Aye, Maze. Why
There's one who received 6,000 shillings.
Yeah. Yeah.
A contribution.
Yes, and it's so hard, and I think we've also gotten to a point where people have given up on the political process of this country because of the kind of leadership or dealership. I like to call it dealership because we haven't really experienced good leadership because of the kind of dealership we have experienced in this country. So you tend to find that the people around us, our folks, our friends, the people who generally call around to come through for us are very tired of the same process, and so they slump you in the same group and say, you know what, you're actually going to be the same as those people.
Exactly.
Yet they don't want to give you a chance and say, okay, maybe let me try and see if Jambi is going to, you know, be different, and let me just take a risk and, you know, fund her campaign, or let me actually just listen to her manifesto and her agendas, and I seriously think and try to analyze if her vision is really what, you know, is going to help the people of Dagoretti South community. And so just because of the previous leadership and previous experiences, you find it hard for young, new people or even elderly people who want to get into politics, find it hard to mobilize resources. It's a very expensive affair. But I keep telling people that if you believe in someone, just invest your time. You don't even have to invest resources if you don't have. Invest your time, invest your words, invest in encouragement. Go out there, go with them to the ground, you know, mobilize people, and just so that you can be part of that change. Because I believe we have a chance to make the change. And if we don't, this is a very decisive election in this country. If we don't, we may never have another chance to make change.
Wow. Lucy,
yes.
What's your take?
About the resources, yes, it's difficulty, but with their friends who support, and like she's saying, there are those who say, how will it be different? We have supported others before who are talking like you, and how can you make it? And these men are having a lot of money. What I want to tell the people, especially the people of Isiolo, money is not everything, it's something. But when it comes to leadership, listen to people who have the issues, who have the networks, who have the connections, who have you at heart, and who have been working with you, like I've worked with you the journey for the last 10 years. I've never left you behind. Anything which is there where you need people to protect, to defend, I have been there.
Let me start with you.
Yes.
Why do you want to be the member of Isiolo North?
This has been a long journey. I've started with Judicial North. My challenge with Judicial is education.
Education.
And insecurity. And those two dockets, they fall under the Member of Parliament. So we have been having insecurity all along. I've championed for peace, and that's what I've been doing for the last almost 15 years, championing for that.
That's a long journey.
Yes, a long journey.
Right.
Peaceful coexistence. And then I realized some of these things they need now for me to be in Parliament, so I can be maybe able to be able even to get the funding like the CDF or more networks so that I can connect with the people, to make more policies or better policies that can maybe show the people of Isiolo that there are more alternative ways of doing things rather than just stealing cows and coming and killing and camels and all that. Education has been the lowest. Almost every other year, the results of Isiolo, it's like you start looking from the bottom. And there is an even, the distribution of the CDF, it's been very, very unfair. The people are not treated well. I'm not saying that it can be equal because we are not equal, but it can be fairly distribution.
Exactly. And
the same money can be used, not just because to build the buildings all the time, or their classrooms, or this. It's not about classrooms. In some areas, maybe what those schools need is not the classrooms. There are some schools which have no teachers. There are some schools where children cannot go to school because of lack of food. There are some schools where there are different, needs, but in a blanket, most of the previous leaders there, what they have been doing is about building classroom. So the 130 million just finishes like that. It never caters for anything. Isiolo is the only county, I think, in Kenya that does not have any college or any branch of university. So we do not have any university.
That is worrying, because the government's idea is to have the 100% transition. You don't have a university or college.
So you wonder, if you don't have someone to oversee, someone to represent and say this is not happening. We have also so many other government even projects there that have never worked, and this is supposed to be the work of. We have like the airport. You hear there's an international airport in Isiolo. It never operated. That is so much, white elephant. We have so many other projects. We have MPs. We will never ask you questions. You're supposed to be the representative of the people. You're supposed to see these projects working because of the unemployment. If we had all these projects like the airport working, we can have a lot of youth getting incorporated there.
You have a lot of work should get children.
Yes.
Come 9th of August. You have a lot of work.
Yes, I do have. So that is what has been challenging, education especially. And when we have a lot of children who dropped out of school, we have a lot of drug issues there that we need places, things like rehabilitation. That is one of my biggest plans that I have.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll come back to that very briefly, because when you talk about cattle rustling, early childhood marriages, girl child, FGM in such areas and so much more. When you hear such stories and you look at Dagoretti South and say, Am I the same? People have a lot to tackle.
Right.
What made you just decide and say, you know, you are going to amplify the voice, as you correctly put it, and run for that particular seat in Dagoretti South?
I mean, it's something I've wanted to do for a very long time because I have the lived experience of being born and raised in Dagoretti South. So I know the first-hand challenges of my community.
So mini de Momta?
Mini de Dago Mbaya,
yeah.
Born and raised, and I still live there. So the challenges that we face, especially when it comes to bursary allocation, I see our mothers struggling to, you know, have access to bursary allocation. And it's constitutionally in place that every needy child must have access to bursary allocation. But we see that when it comes to the allocation of these bursaries, there's nepotism, and you have to know people to get these bursaries. You have to know someone, and that shouldn't be the case. Every child has a right to get, you know, quality access to an education. And I, once voted to office, I will make sure that every needy child will be able to go to school. I am a believer in education. I am a believer in the fact that children from the hood, children from the ghetto need to access education. I'm also a believer in creation of employment through sports and art. Where I come from, our biggest culture is football and music. I have a background in the arts. I have a background in reggae and different spheres of the arts, and it all started in Dago. Why haven't we been able to harness this, these areas and create studios? And I intend to, build studios in the 5 wards that we have, so that artists can have access, whether it's audio you want to record, whether it's visual, so that we can be able to create employment through sports and arts. And this is a billion-dollar industry. I also intend to make sure that we have capital injection through business financing for our business development and for small-scale businesses, our mamas, our mamambogas in the hood, and our zes who are also elderly, who are also retired, because we still need their skills and wisdom in order for us to continue growing together as a community, so that we can be able to offer training and resource facilitation for them, because the one forgotten sector of our community. And I also believe that as young people, we also have our challenges, and one of the biggest challenges in my community is drug addiction.
It's a big issue.
It's a very big issue, big issue. And one of the things I intend to do within the first 100 days I get into office is to make sure that our young people, my brothers and sisters who are addicted to drugs, have access to methadone. Because if you look at it, the only place they can access methadone is in Madare or in Gara. If you do your math, imagine this person is addicted to drugs, right? They're already incapacitated to move. They don't have a job. They're not economically empowered. So they need to make sure that they have...
They even become a burden to the economy.
Right. And so they need fare to move from Dago to Madare. It's expensive. So if you do your math, those are like 3 matatus. That's about 200, 300 shillings a day. You know, they haven't eaten, they don't have psychosocial support. And I intend to make sure that within the first 100 days, we make sure that methadone gets to Dago. So at least we can be able to save our brothers and sisters. It's a big problem that's affecting us, and we all know how terrible it's been. And when I was growing up, we never had such issues, but we know how the drugs, how the drugs have infiltrated our community. And another thing also, I would also like to make sure that we have access to clean water and sanitation, because the biggest problem in Dagoretti South, especially for Riruta and Ngando wards, is water. And I have I identified different partners we can be able to work with in order for us to be able to provide water for our people. And most importantly for me, once voted into office, is to make sure that I formulate and legislate policies that will be able to help our people and the healthcare system as well. I'm someone who's gone through serious healthcare problems. I know the disparities and the gaps in our healthcare system, so that we can be able at least to make sure our people have access to quality healthcare. And one other thing is, one forgotten ward in my community is Ngando ward. And I really intend to make sure that Ngando gets a school, gets a hospital, and also access roads, so that we are able to be interconnected.
You don't have a clinic?
We don't have a health center in Ngando ward. We don't have roads, no access to water. It's one of the most forgotten wards.
You have a lot of work to do within 5 years if you get elected. But Lucy,
when I get elected, Victor.
When you get elected.
When I get elected.
All right. Lucy, what would be your style of leadership?
My style of leadership is participatory leadership, where I want my people to be participating in whatever we are doing. Not just coming up and putting some buildings for them. I want them to come. I'll be sitting in every ward. We sit with the people of that ward, and we identify the issues in their area, and it is them. I want to hear the answers from them. What's your priority? Then give me the priority of the 1, 2, 3 things that you want us to do.
It's easier said.
It is
It's easier said than done.
By the way,
it is easy.
Why do we have the CDF office? and we don't see any member of parliament coming to talk to them. I'll be visiting my constituency at least every ward once a month to sit with the people of the ward to make sure that I listen to them. We check how far we have gone with what we said, and that the following election 2027 that should be the checklist. They should be asking me this, we did this, we did this, we are done. If we are not done, they take me home. So I have no problem. And like I said, in Isiolo, most women over 60%, they are single mothers.
Yeah.
That is, so most households, they are run by single mothers. So I will be having programs and civic education with them. Civic education is something else which is also huge. So in my programs, once I'm a member of parliament, I will have civic education on women, on empowering them, making sure that I come up with the program that we agree with them. Each group will tell me, this is what we would like, this is what's going to change our lives. It's not me to assume, Nwalete kuku, it was India. No, it's the women who tell me, if we get, it is the youth who are going to tell me, if we get this, we are going to go. The question of, the drug addiction, seriously, you know, there is a preventive care, and the after. So many of them, they are already drowning in it. So we'll have programs. We'll have programs. We'll have the programs. And the first 100 days, I will be talking about bringing a rehab center, at least to rehabilitate those. And I'm going to start. There are other also rehabilitation centers like the Mutudo in Nakuru. I will try first to get them there, and then we continue with civic education so that they can understand, including the parents, how to identify when your kids are drowning in this, when you have this, what symptoms, what will you be looking at? So I will have those programs to teach, also to educate the parents on what to identify first. That now, the question of youth, we have so many of them who are not employed. Why? Is because most of them do not even have skills. We do not have a college.
And that is why
they are not employable. They cannot employ themselves. So I'm going to have program that is also in my #1 priority. We have them taken to technical schools, and because the money is there, once I'm a member of parliament, the money of CDF is there. Instead of saying CDF is just for paying for high school, no, you take them to technical schools, they become plumbers, they become all these technical jobs that they can do. And once they come back, you are an electrician, you are a plumber, you are all these technical jobs. Will you come as your member of parliament? I'll give you the tools to go and start your business.
I want to talk about the issue of 2/3 gender rule, Jumpy, because as a media personality, this is something you've been talking about years, and we've covered this. It's still an issue that is still pending in parliament. Anytime they go to parliament to pass it, it doesn't see the light of the day. What would be your program if you get elected and now you've been sworn in and there you have it, 2/3 gender rule still pending in parliament?
It's important for us to be inclusive, and it's important for us to think inclusion when we talk about politics, because at the end of the day, if we are not meeting the 2/3 gender rule, are we really representing our society? Are we really representing the majority and marginalized as well? So it's important for us to also think inclusively, mobilize, and work with the right-minded people in order for us to actualize this vision of the 2/3 gender rule. And I believe inclusion is key.
Inclusion is key.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I want to get your point on that.
Also now, having like Mother Karua now as a deputy president, she understands she is actually a founder of what we are talking about. And we have Mother Kome as the Chief Justice. And now we have people like Njiabi and myself
there. The entire judiciary is comprised by women.
Yes, so things should change. It is just to follow the law. If it's not done the way it's supposed to be done, you know, like I remember the other day, Baba said the first 100 days is to make sure that corruption comes to standstill. It will be the end. Well, if corruption is not there, then the question of bringing the 2/3 gender will be there. And also encouraging women, not just to sit and think because you are discouraged, you should stop. No one will come to pick you. You lazima uamuke. Lazima you stand. You come. You have to fight for your position. You have to, you know, you have to.
The men are not sleeping.
They are not sleeping.
They're not sleeping.
And they're not waiting for anyone to pick them up.
That is the next question I wanted to ask you, that what keeps you awake up at night? Because men are not sleeping, but what keeps you awake at night and say that 9th is here, but you can't get that sleep?
It's the belief that I know I will make a change in my community, and the belief that I have in myself and the belief that I have in our people to ensure that our constituency is lifted and taken to greater heights, and that's what keeps me up at night. And I know that I will be emerging the victor. I'll be emerging the victor in this race. Yeah.
And me, it's just remembering what the people of Isiolo North and Isiolo actually generally yes, we're going through education-wise, security-wise, and they need me. Because what I'm doing right now is what I need to enhance when I go to Parliament. It's not that I'm starting, I'm not new, like I told you, I've done it for the last 2 elections. I've been there, and my manifesto has been consistent and nothing has been done. I've been working for peaceful coexistence.
You're a nurse by profession, by there. She's a nurse by profession. So we have got a journalist at a nurse here in the studio. But then,
yes,
service to the people.
Service to the people, yes.
Just to ask you, if you were given a chance, you've been sworn in a day after.
Yes.
What would be the first day in office?
The first day in office, it is how I am going to get rid of those drugs in Isiolo. The first day is the second day is getting all the stakeholders in education. I make sure that I sit with teachers. I make sure that I teach with the education office. I make sure I've met the students so that we can start knowing what the problem is, so that, because you cannot start solving a problem if you don't know what it is. So meeting with all education stakeholders, teachers, students, anyone involved in education, that to me by fasting, so that I can be able to start with education right away.
Jabi, as you answer the same question, health is devolved.
Yes.
And you have been a victim of health complications, which you are a fighter.
Yes.
You are a fighter, and the resilience.
Right.
The resilience. Your first day in office.
My first day in office, of course, is to familiarize myself with the office, but most importantly is to understand on how I will be able to formulate and legislate policy when it comes to healthcare. And it's a devolved function, but we can be able to formulate and legislate policies nationally, and that will be able to change the scope of how our healthcare system is operating. And it's important for us to realize it needs a wholesome approach.
Yeah.
With the devolved counties and of course the national approach in terms of how our healthcare system needs to be shaped. The doctor's welfare, patient to doctor relationship, and then of course medical insurance policies in this country. We also have the universal healthcare cover. Is it really working? Those are things we need to start addressing, in that when a patient goes to hospital, they know that whether they have insurance or not, they can access emergency services.
You can probably answer that because you are a direct victim of such services.
Exactly. And you do understand that in this country today, if you go to hospital and it's an emergency, you do realize that you will not be able to access any healthcare services. Yet it's in the Constitution that you have a right to any medical care at the emergency level. But when you go to a hospital today, you have to pay. And we've lost so many lives at the casualties.
Yeah, so sad. You're talking about.
And how are we empowering the infrastructure in our local hospitals, even before you get to the level 5s and to the general hospitals? How are we empowering our clinics in our constituencies? You come to my constituency today, we don't have doctors, we don't have nurses, we don't have medication. You go to a hospital, they tell you to even go and buy syringes out there.
No.
Should that be the case?
No, I don't. Is that happening in Dagoretti South?
That is happening in Dagoretti South. That is happening in my constituency.
And health is devolved.
And health is devolved.
Health is devolved.
So what policies, that's why I'm saying that we need people who understand and people who've been through the system and understand what policies they can formulate and legislate in order for our healthcare system to change. And it needs people who've been through it and people who are going to fight. This is not going to be a sloganeering thing. No, that we're going to change. No. It needs to be an agenda. It needs to be itemized. It needs to be prioritized so that we can be able to see that change in our healthcare system. Remember, a healthy nation is a productive nation.
Absolutely.
If we're all, if you go on Facebook today, if you go on social media today, how many pay bills are you seeing running?
Okay. I'm giving you only 10 seconds, like a link.
Yes.
Camera 5.
Okay.
To the people of Dagoretti South. We are running out of time.
My name is Mary Jambi Kweikai, otherwise known as Fire Mama. Now at Wangu Adago, I have been your representative in very many spheres and platforms. Now this is a moment where we will be vying, and this is a moment where we will be electing and changing our leadership, because I believe we have the chance to make change.
Here I am, your incoming member of parliament. I've walked with you the journey. Nimekuwa na nyinyi for the last 15 years. I've worked for you. I've stood by you. I've stood with you. This is the time. Our time has come. I'm asking you to vote me in. We continue making the difference in Isiolo so we can change our security, so we can have the peaceful coexistence between us and the police and all the agents, so that we can improve our education, so that our children can get the skills that they need, so that the bursaries can be equally distributed, so that our women can be empowered, so that I can oversee all the government projects that are not working. Please vote me in, and we are going to change Isiolo. This is our time.
Absolutely. Thank you. One denominator, all of them are calling for change. We are going to change, and that is their clarion call. All right. The decision making come 9th of August. You, the Mwananchi, you have got a choice to make come 9th of August. Let's take a break. That has been Jambi Koikai vying for that member of parliament seat in Dagoretti South, as well as Lucy Moria, all the way from Isiolo North, battling it out with how many? 14?
15.
15.
Yes.
All the best.
But I'm the leading.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All the best, ladies. Thank you so much for watching. Let's take a break.
Top sports attractions on KBC Channel 1. In July, Kenya Morans face off against the DRC, Egypt and Senegal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt from 1st to 3rd of July 2022. Also in July, Kenya plays South Africa in Rugby League test matches in Nairobi with a return fixture set for October. Still in July, watch the World Athletic Championships from 15th to 24th July live from Oregon, USA, as Kenyan athletes seek glory. Followed by the 22nd Commonwealth Games from 28th July to 8th August, live from Birmingham, England. In August, join our coverage of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships from the 1st to 6th of August 2022 from Cali, Colombia. Then, in November, catch the World Half Marathon Championships on 13th November from Yangzhou, China. Now that's what sets us apart as KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Or we'll kill all of you to avenge our fallen celestials.
As long as I'm the avian king, I'll never surrender. Today, it will be the end of you.
Mbona mlango? Dingo, sitaki mwanangu umhusishe kwenye biashara zenu zisizoeleweka.
Kwa nini hatuwezi kuachana na maneno?
Wewe wataka. Tunamwona mpaka saa hizi hajafika kwenye mkutano. Kwa sampuli ile mlionionyesha pale kwenye tamasha.
We wouldn't like to interfere with your genius minds.
We keep this train rolling, but in case you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Wamboy. We appreciate you guys that are checking in with us on our Facebook and Twitter platforms. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jane Wamboy. From that beautiful discussion there, we now move on to the next segment, and this one focuses on the film industry in our Kenyan space, and more so looking at the upcoming Kalasha International Film and TV market. And with us in studio to help us with this conversation, we have Mr. Timothy Owase, who is the CEO of the Kenya Film Commission. Good morning, Timothy. Karibu sana.
Good morning, Jane.
Thank you for making time to be with us.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, so as always, we like to start with the basics. You know, many times you always hear KFC, Kenya Film Commission, but for the benefit of our viewers, just briefly tell us the functions and mandates of the Kenya Film Commission.
Thank you very much, Jane. Kenya Film Commission is a state corporation whose mandate is to create a vibrant film industry in Kenya. We grow capacity in the country in terms of skills. We attract investment into the country.
Yes.
We also market Kenya as a filming destination. We archive film materials. We undertake research and provide information to the public as far as the creative sector is concerned. And we also create opportunities for the upcoming filmmakers, provide an array of funding industry products, for example, film projects like documentaries, feature films, series among others, and animation. And of course, organizing products like Kalasha Market and Kalasha Awards, among many more.
Now, all right, now given you are right at the center of this conversation around the film industry, just your thoughts generally looking at the progress that we have made over the years, of course, courtesy of the efforts that KFC is also putting in place to help build the industry as a whole and just professionalize and formalize the industry.
Right. Based on the foundation that has been set by Kenya Film Commission, we are on the right trajectory. The film industry in Kenya is actually growing and growing very fast. So many young people are joining the sector, and we can already see that there are many who are earning from the film sector, and we can even do much better. So the Commission is still committed and looking forward to championing more investors joining the sector so that we can be able to drive the business of film and make business sense as we grow the economy of Kenya.
All right, beautiful. So the main aspect of this conversation today revolves around the Kalasha International Film and TV market.
Correct.
For the 5th edition, for that matter. But what is this film and TV market all about? Give us a bit of background on when it was set up.
Well, we started off by celebrating the creative practitioners in the industry through the Kalasha Awards about 12 years ago. And on the 9th edition, we chose to establish or to start the film market because it's not only about entertainment. It's film is all about creating opportunities for business making. And Kalasha Market was a critical platform that we had to come up with as Kenya Film Commission, so that we provide a platform for content creators and content buyers to converge and do film business. So when we talk about the Kalasha International Film and TV market, it's all about bringing people together, both local and international, to come, exchange, network, do business, undertake pitching programs. We have workshops, conferences. We'll have various experts talking about specific topical issues within the film industry.
All right. And when you were setting up this particular film and TV market, who was the target that you were looking to address with the platform that you are giving with this film market?
When we talk about the film market, this is a platform for all, but more so content creators. You create content just the same way you will manufacture a product, so that this product can be able to find a market for consumers. So when we opened up the Kalasha International Film and TV market, the essence of this was to give us a room where we can have buyers coming from all over the world, coming here to actually seek or look for content that can be broadcasted on their various platforms. It's also an avenue for Kenya to grow what we call co-production opportunities. Producers are always looking for partners, and this market provides you that room. You can be able to identify a partner from a different country whom you can be able to join efforts, funds to produce or to tell your story. And as you know, the screen sector is all about storytelling, and the market is all about bringing storytellers together so that they can be able to combine or connect their aspirations to tell their stories.
All right.
Yes.
Now, the goal has always been to make this film and TV market better each year that you get to celebrate it.
Yes.
And looking at the fact that we will be celebrating, marking rather the 5th one,
Right.
how has it also evolved over the years in terms of the goal that you had in mind when you were setting up this TV and film market, as well as even the content creators and bringing them on board? How has that relationship evolved over the years?
Well, to start with, over the years we have grown, and the market, as we talk about the 5th edition, there is more than we had during the first edition of the market.
Yes.
First, we have key international players participating in the market. We have exhibitions where we'll have key partners, both local and international, exhibiting what they have to offer. We have an industry mixer. This is all about a forum where producers or filmmakers are able to interact with their counterparts who are coming from far and wide.
Yes.
Then we have workshops which are open, and these workshops are giving space for filmmakers or practitioners to actually come in and learn from these particular experts. Other than that, we have various products that we are launching within the market. We've had a 3-week boot camp which was taking place in Nyeri, that is Dedan Kimathi University, and we'll have about 20 animators being graduated at the film market. This is something we've not done before, and we endeavor to continue championing that. So there are new areas that are coming up, like gaming, which we want to continue championing. So as we discuss about innovation and technology, the film sector is actually giving us an opportunity for us to champion all these opportunities.
All right.
And the more we open up these opportunities, the market grows. And when the market grows, then there is an exchange and creation of wealth for our young people in the country.
Yeah, and speaking of young people, you know, and when it comes to content creation, young people are right at the center of this conversation.
Correct.
And we are living in a time where social media has also taken over. We have access to social media, especially the youth. They're able to put out their content out there.
Indeed.
But then again, looking at this film, why is it important for these young people to actually pay attention to this film and TV market, to just see the opportunities that lay within this particular function that will be happening?
Yes, when we talk about the film or content market, we have to think about the creation and the consumption of content.
Yes.
Unlike before, when we had to focus on watching movies through cinema theaters, today, because of technology, the pipelines for film or content distribution has really changed. With your mobile telephony, you are able to consume content of any kind. So the market provides the young people an opportunity for them to discover and rediscover opportunities that are there on how you can be able to create content. What are the new technologies? We'll have companies that are specialists in camera work. So we'll have various camera clinics. For those who have cameras that they need checked by experts, they have an opportunity there. Also, companies that have content and they would like to sell this content, this Kalasha provides you an avenue for you to be able to come and pitch to the likely buyers. Funders are also coming in, and I can bet that when you come to the Kalasha International Film and TV market, you will have an opportunity for you to be discovered as a young person.
Yes.
So that you can actually find your footing within the sector.
All right.
Yes.
And speaking of finding footing, this is an international affair, focusing on both the local industry as well as the international space.
Correct.
How do we also just make sure that we are exposing our young ones to this particular techniques and other opportunities that not just are not within the Kenyan space, but also the international space, while still building the Kenyan space, the film industry?
And that's why we are very deliberate in participation to this year's Kalasha International Film and TV market.
Yes.
For students, we are asking them to actually just come with their student identity card to participate in the Kalasha market. For the general public, in terms of delegates, for you to participate, you need to come to register as a delegate, pay 300 shillings per day, or 700 as a consolidated fee for the 3 days, for you to be part of the Kalasha market. We'll have a speed dating event for the film industry or film industry mixer, which is a forum where filmmakers will come together and just share, network, exchange contacts, and basically do what we call co-production opportunities for them.
Okay. Now, also for the past 4 years, looking at this 5th year edition of the Kalasha International Film and TV Market, what are some of the loopholes that you're also trying to fill with this particular film and market?
Within the market, there will be various discussions which will border on the legal framework. When we talk about the environment we are operating in, what are the critical avenues for us to open up the market, for example, the film incentives. Other than that, how will the co-production treaties open the Kenyan market and grow our content to be viewed by or to be bought by other countries? Because we would like to expand our market so that we are creating wealth that is sustainable and also jobs that can be really give value to our nation as a whole. So when we talk about the market is an avenue for us to open that spectrum and see to it that you are able to, government is able to see what are the key gaps that we need to fill. What are the skills gaps that we need to fill so that we have gamers in the country, animators, and also key areas of strengthening in terms of how artists can actually earn meaningfully, other than being shortchanged in terms of copyright, intellectual property, among others.
All right. And that brings me to the theme of this particular film festival, film and TV market, to be specific. Film business, the economics of content creation in the digital era. What is the goal with this particular theme?
You know, film is all about business. And just the same way we undertake agriculture, manufacturing, film, you actually wake up in the morning, think about a story, how you are going to manufacture it, whom you are going to tell this story, how it will be costed, branded, and marketed. So for us, we are looking at this year's theme as a driver to creating an understanding that any person who is participating in the film sector, they are actually participating with a view that they are actually undertaking business just like any other. And we would like to champion this so that we are able to grow our market and also attract more to participate from elsewhere.
Now, tell us a bit about the activities that will be running within the festival itself and what anyone who hopes to attend can expect from this particular TV and film festival.
That's a good one. Within the market, we have quite a number of activities that are lined up. One, we have a pitching session where buyers of content will have an opportunity to get an avenue where they'll have pitchers coming out with their projects and possibly take up these projects in terms of licensing or for development. And this is an avenue where buyers will have an opportunity to actually get this content. And I'm talking about free-to-air broadcasters, we're talking about pay TV companies, VODs, among others. They'll have an avenue to actually get real-time content that they can be able to buy and put on their platforms.
Oh, wow.
So this is an opening for our local producers or storytellers who have content that they are looking a market for.
And are there requirements for this particular lot that hopes to pitch?
For pitching, we send out a call, and there are quite a number of practitioners in the country who already applied, and it will be a very structured pitching program, which for those who will participate from the 10th, they'll be able to actually access this particular opportunity. And again, other than the pitching component, during the industry mixer, which is a forum for networking, again, you'll have an opportunity to interact with key content buyers. So this is an opportunity for all to come and just access this avenue that we've provided as Kenya Film Commission.
Okay.
The other key programs within the market, we have workshops. And these workshops will have key speakers or panelists from both South Africa, the US. We have speakers coming from Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda, as well as Kenyan experts in the film sector who will be exchanging and discussing key topical areas of funding, capacity building, when we talk about co-production treaties, the legal framework, copyright issues, and intellectual property. So all these are opportunities that are available at the market for the participants to actually access.
All right.
Yes.
And actually, before we get to continue with the conversation, we're using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, and there's a tweet that has come in from Fiona. She's asking about those that are actually allowed to come to this particular film and TV market, because most of the time when we have this kind of functions, we only see those people that have made it being given priority in some of these functions. What about us that are hoping to join the film industry?
You need to, actually, I'll ask Fiona to remember that this is your film market and you are free to actually join. All you need is to go to Kenya Film Commission website, sign up as a delegate, pay the 300 shillings per day or 700 for the 3 days, then you will be able to participate like any other person. It is not special for specific practitioners in the industry. It's open to all Kenyans. Parents who are yearning to have their children undertake a course in the screen sector, you have an opportunity to come and engage experts and get to know more about the film sector.
Okay.
And encourage your children to participate in this.
All right.
Yes.
So this year there will be a special event that will also be happening at this particular TV and film market. Tell us about a bit about
We have
that.
actually 2 mini events within one. First of all, we have a program called My County, My Story. And this is all about getting stories emanating from the county, different counties in the country. We have 47 counties, and we send out a call so that we could share snippets of films that have been produced coming from these respective counties. So on Sunday the 12th, the Commission will be screening films from 9 a.m. until dawn, all Kenyan films, as well as we'll have a few South African films and Ugandan films. So this is an opportunity for Kenyans to come and see what we are able to produce from counties.
And how has that experience been, just, working with the counties to reach the young people or the creatives that are in the spaces to bring out their stories in the simplest yet beautiful ways that they're able to do so?
The opportunity is huge.
Yeah.
I can assure you, each county in this country has a very special space when you talk about the screen sector. We have room to tell our stories in a very unique way, as each county is different and presents different positive dynamics for storytelling.
Yes.
So at the Commission, we are encouraging county governments to work with us as we champion the growth of the sector and as we also champion the storytelling from each of these counties. Of course, My County, My Story is a growing product championed by Kenya Film Commission, and we believe by doing that we'll be contributing to cohesion and integration.
Yes.
Also promoting Kenya as a brand, respective counties, and promoting our cultural heritage, which is critical and as seen through various film products.
All right.
The other products that we'll be launching during the market is the Commission has actually mapped all filming locations in the country. So on the 10th, we are yearning to launch what we call the locations mapped. These locations are basically, we are going to open up this space for any producer who wants to film at any specific location in the country to get to access these particular locations on a click of a button. So we'll be showing you what is available in northeastern, what is available in western Kenya, what is available in Nairobi, what is available in eastern, the Mount Kenya, among others.
And why is that important? Because that has always been a problem when it comes to especially working with different counties, the licenses that you have to acquire for working in different places.
That is important because imagine there are so many producers who are looking for locations to shoot their film. And all they are looking for is available information to help them make decisions. So if you want to go to Turkana tomorrow and you are able to access this information, you will get to know if I'm a film producer coming from a different country and I land in Nairobi, are the infrastructure in terms of roads, water, and other facilities, aviation available, hospitality, hotels, and so on, because all these are contribute towards the filmmaking business.
Yes.
So the locations that we have mapped provides all this information. You'll be able to know how is the population in Turkana County, how is the infrastructure in terms of hotels, security, all information that you require as a producer, you'll be able to get to know through the locations that we have mapped.
All right.
So we'll be launching this on the 10th at KICC. Yes.
The film and TV market will be happening at the KICC.
Yes, the film and TV market will be happening at the KICC between the 10th 11th and 12th of June, and all are welcome. And to participate, as I said, all you need is to sign up on our website as a delegate at a cost of 300 shillings. And as a student, all you need is to come with your student identity card, then you participate in all forums within the market.
All right.
And let me also mention that within the market, we have exhibitors. We have various practitioners who will be, and companies who will be exhibiting what they have to offer within the film sector.
Okay.
This again will provide participants an avenue to get to know what is it. If I want to buy a camera, where do I go? If I want to get liaison services from government, what role does KFCB or KWS do? All this information will be provided at the market.
All right.
Yes.
What about parents who have children that are don't have access to a school ID and they also want to participate in this particular film festival? They have interest in this particular area. Is there provision for them to be able to attend?
Parents can be able to participate as delegates. All they need is to sign up.
And the children? Or is there an age limit?
We are looking at those who are in school already and they have student identity cards. Yeah.
All right.
For security reasons.
For security purposes.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you are in the film content creation space and you have been looking for an avenue to just get this information, this will be happening from between the 10th through to the 12th of this month at KICC. It is the Kalasha International Film and TV Market. An opportunity for you to get to learn more about this. Now, looking at that aspect that you had mentioned about location mapping, it will be launched and available on the KFC website.
Correct.
Now, does it also come with the requirements that one needs in order to be able to go to maybe this county? Yes, there are these locations. This is what you need in order to be able to shoot in this particular county. Does it give that those guidelines?
What the Commission is doing is to provide film practitioners all necessary information for you to film in Kenya. So as we provide you information about filming locations, the requirements for one to film in the country is also provided. So we'll give you one package that gives you all A to Z of filming in the country.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you had also mentioned earlier on that KFC also serves as an archive for some of our history. Now, for those that are also looking to film in different locations, but they cannot have, they don't know how to access this particular footage, can they be able to do so through KFC?
First of all, allow me to say that archiving is a business opportunity that I would like to encourage investors to actually venture into this. Kenya Film Commission has a mandate of archiving film for posterity, and the intention here is store, collect, store, and access. So we are setting up a facility that will enable filmmakers or anyone who is looking for content to access the same online, to get to know which film was shot where, by whom, and how can I access it. That is a facility the Commission is currently setting up.
Yes.
Of course, as I said, it's a business opportunity that I will encourage investors to actually look into it. In addition to cinema theaters, I'm currently asking investors to set up cinema theaters in counties so that we have all Kenyans accessing content. Because, as I said, despite the changes in technology, the traditional cinemas are still very valid, so we encourage that as well, so that we're able to watch films on a big screen.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, looking at that aspect of counties, they have a huge role to play when it comes to reaching the people, the creatives down at the ground. You have mentioned that you are also encouraging them to set up these screenings to allow for viewing. But what more do you think can be done at the county level to encourage the content creator and the film industry to grow? We know you have been working closely with the ICT ministry.
There is a lot that is happening. Good you mentioned the ICT ministry. There is a draft film policy and bill which is meant to create an enabling environment that will actually champion the growth of the films or screen sector, both at the national level and county. We are looking at having a one-stop shop for filming in Kenya, a situation where when you want to undertake a filming activity, you do not have to collect licenses from so many entities. We're also setting up an online e-film shop platform, which is currently available on eCitizen, for filmmakers to actually access government services. If you want to get a license to film in the country or a drone service from KCA, you go to the eCitizen, Kenya Film Commission e-film shop and you access this service. So there is a lot we are doing together with other partners, both in government and private sector, to provide an avenue for young filmmakers who like to join the industry and those who want to access funding to be able to tell their stories at county level through our empowerment program fund, which is geared towards promoting production of content in the country.
Absolutely.
So capacity building is key, funding is critical, and also government putting in place an enabling environment through policy and the bill.
All right.
Yes.
And also as we gear up for the elections, it is a sensitive time all around, and also given film requires people to travel, traverse the country, how can film also be used to sort of change the narrative around the sensationalization?
Yeah, it's all about
elections.
It's all about storytelling, and through film there is a lot we can achieve as a country when you talk about politics, because film participates in behavior change. The same way you actually narrate your story will influence somebody who watches that movie. So I would like to encourage Kenyans, especially in the storytelling space, that let us tell stories to our citizens, stories that will be able to add value, stories that will promote economic well-being of our nation, and also cohesion and integration. Because when you talk about film, film doesn't know any tribe. It only knows entertainment and economics. So all I'm championing is for us to tell stories that will be able to promote cohesion in the country.
All right.
Yes.
Richie is asking, are artists, musicians also allowed to participate in this film and TV market?
Yes, musicians are artists, and there is no film that is complete without music.
Yes.
So I'll encourage Richie to actually sign up and come at the market.
All right.
Yes.
So once again, just give us the details of the when, the where, and requirements as we close this conversation.
Thank you very much. Kalasha International Film and TV Market is brought to you by Kenya Film Commission, and it's upcoming from the 10th, which is on Friday this week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is the 10th, 11th, and the 12th. And we have an array of activities that will be taking place at KICC. All you need to do is to sign up as a delegate on our website. And if you are a student and you wish to participate at the Kalasha International Film and TV Market, all you need to do is to come with your student identity card. You'll be able to access all the facilities that we have lined up for the market for you to enjoy. The screenings, the workshops, we have the pitching sessions, the film industry mixer, panels in the conferences, among others. All these are geared towards having a conversation about the film industry. And remember, the film market is all about connecting, trade, as well as exchanging. So we'll have opportunities for networking, undertaking business transactions, as well as exhibiting. Yes.
All right. Now, if in case there's someone who's watching us and they would like to be part of maybe sponsoring or just facilitating other film and content creators, how can they also be participating in this, aside from being either student or signing up as a delegate?
Yeah, Kenya Film Commission is very vibrant and open to engage all stakeholders, be they those who want to participate as supporters of this great initiative.
Yes.
All you need to do is to reach out to Kenya Film Commission, and we can be reached on our social media platforms. That is Twitter at Kenya Filmcom, Facebook, Kenya Film Commission, Instagram, Kenya Film Commission, as well as on our website, which is kenyafilmcommission.go.ke.
All right.
And we are open to have this conversation and continue online as we discuss matters film industry in Kenya.
Fantastic. That brings us to a close of this conversation. Once again, the Kalasha International Film and TV Market will be happening this weekend. You can be able to get more information via those social media handles that have just been given out. We have been speaking with Mr. Timothy Owase. He is the Chief Executive Officer in charge of the Kenya Film Commission. Thank you so much for making time to be with us.
Thank you for hosting me.
Karibu sana. All right, so that's that in regards to this discussion, but we are not yet done with Good Morning Kenya. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.
Kisii County is majorly known for its bananas and has been thriving on soapstone. Kisii candidates are gearing up for the next governor of this county. What is their agenda for Kisii? Don't miss the Kisii County gubernatorial debate from Kisii University this Thursday on the 9th of June exclusively on KBC Channel 1 from 9:50 p.m.
On the 21st of September 2013, 4 masked gunmen attacked the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, Kenya. "200 people were wounded in the mass shooting. So what exactly is the role of the military intelligence in such national security operations?
We have what we call the intelligence cycle, where every information collected is evaluated, is analyzed, and eventually there is always the information which has to be dissemination on need-to-know basis.
Within the military intelligence also monitors their own intelligence.
Because you can have an intelligence activities, organization, and you have a section of your own intelligence turning against yourselves or even against the system. So the counterintelligence, we also look at, you counter your own activities, you monitor, you counter those of the potential enemies, and then you share a lot with the national intelligence.
This intelligence has helped the country just recently.
Of arms were recovered from City Hall, and the military broke into the armories at the City Hall and took all the weapons. It's not a secret, but that was neutralized. They were all picked and kept. They were taken for safe custody.
Trained as an aircraft controller, General retired Charles Mwanzia joined the Air Force in 1979 and rose through the ranks, becoming the Director of Military Intelligence and Commandant of the Defense Staff College.
I was in charge of a small, Moi Air Base, a small airspace, limited up to 9,000 from sea level in a small area where Eastleigh is. But originally, I was controlling air traffic from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, what we call the upper terminal area, all aircraft.
He was commissioned in 1980, and shortly after, the infamous failed 1982 coup happened.
I had just arrived from Pakistan, and I was called from home. We had a major exercise. This major exercise was a routine exercise. I was sent to Kisumu.
Largely in the dark on the alleged military coup, he followed the radio updates.
Apparently, the Air Force headquarters we were trying to call had been bombed by the Kenya Army. It was on fire.
In his years in the Air Force, General Mwanzia effected a number of changes.
I was also the Commandant, Defense Staff College, a Kenya Military Academy. We came up with a program of training cadets for 3 years.
Repairing and maintenance of aircrafts.
We In the Air Force, when I got there, we had a fleet of aircraft called the Tucano. There, I go to the Air Force, I find the entire fleet grounded. Maintenance crew were trained in UK to be able to do almost anything on that aeroplane. We used our own tools to recover the aeroplanes.
He has received various awards.
His Excellency, I've got 3 of them. The Order of the Grand Warrior, the Order of the Burning Spear, and the Chief of the Burning Spear.
But the retired general, as many before him, praises General Tonje and the reforms he initiated as the Chief of Defence Forces.
General Tonje is credited with one thing. He got the military to go back to study. Okay. And he's one person, I think the impact in the military will never be forgotten.
Even with his rich training and experience, General Mwanzia says he was sometimes misunderstood.
I was told one time by one of the senior officers, I was trying to civilianize the military. We continued pushing because that's where the new world is going to. The military must be highly educated, they must be able to analyze issues.
But what is the one thing the general is remembered for?
Timekeeping. Being just out there to deliver and show the results and do better than, make place better than the way you found it.
Reporting for KBC, Amnesty Imano.
On the 22nd of August 1978, Major General Dedan Gishuru, then commander of the Kenya Air Force, receives a call from State House.
I was called after midnight by the ADC to the President, Major Macharia. We want you to come to Mombasa immediately. We want 2 planes, and you must be in one of them.
The general quickly made arrangements for 2 planes to take off from Isili for Mombasa. Mission still unknown.
I rang the station, and I said I want 2 buffaloes to be made ready, and I'll be one of the pilots. So look for the crew for the other members of the crew. In my plane, it was myself, Kano Tambo, and Julius Karangi.
He then receives strict instructions to park the plane away from public eye.
And then we landed at Mombasa at around 6 o'clock. And then I called Macharia. They said, we have landed. Yeah, could you park the plane near the fire station that is away from the public? And then the casket came.
The mission was top secret, and they had orders to keep the news away from the public.
I was called by the Chief Secretary, Mr. Karethi, who was in Mombasa then, and he said, can you arrange for ambulance to take the body to State House without anybody knowing? We got there at 10 o'clock, we are there. By this time, of course, the ministers were called. So there was a kind of a mini cabinet.
After the confirmation of the message, the broadcast was finally made that the founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, was no more.
And Mr. Karethi drafted a message to be broadcast.
The call was then made to the Voice of Kenya, now KBC.
The message was actually very straightforward. It's been announced, yes sir, from State House, Nairobi, yes sir, that His Excellency the President, yes sir, passed on, disconnected. And that was, we got to sit at 10 o'clock. There's 1:15. There's the time the message sank.
So, how did his career in the military begin? It all started when 5 Kenyans were secretly recruited to be trained by the Israel Air Force sometime in 1962.
So technically, the Air Force started maybe before independence. We were told you can apply to join the East African Community, where they were to train air traffic controllers.
They were Dedan Gishuru, David Kanagi, Samuel Mukirai, Frederick Collins Omondi, and John Apudo. The training of these 5 young Kenyans would be the foundation on which the Kenya Air Force would begin after independence in Eastleigh, then known as Royal Air Force.
When we got independence, the Air Force was started, and initially we started with 2 planes, Chipmunk, with instructors from Royal Air Force.
But even after independence, the Air Force was still majorly under the Royal Air Force officers.
Although we came from Israel as commissioned officers, we were not accepted as officers.
Mzee Jomo intervened and allowed for General Gishuru to assume full responsibility of the Kenya Air Force.
Mzee Kenyatta said, okay, if these people are doing what they're supposed to do, fly, why can't they take over? And he reduced the stay of the British by 2 years.
As the commander, Dedan was the man in charge of flying, maintenance, and administration.
When I took over, of course, there were not many challenges, because flying-wise, I continued flying throughout. And I can tell you we had very good training by the British, both here and, of course, in UK.
He served as the commander from 1973 to 1980.
Promoted to full colonel and took over as the Air Force commander at the age of 30.
General Gishuru's years of flying were not without challenges.
So I was doing like 14 trips a day. After 2 weeks, I tore my cartridge. So when I went back to home, to base, my knee was swollen like that.
Grounded not to fly again, a directive he did not heed to, and this decision sent him to theatre.
Later on, of course, in 1980, my leg became worse. So they removed, it's like ball bearing, because the cut, the meniscus had cut and it was rolling there. That's the one which was knocking. So they removed those.
Dedan Juguna Gishuru was the first ever indigenous Air Force commander, having taken over from the British when Kenya gained its independence in the year 1963. In 1985, he became the Chief of Staff, Defense Headquarters, and in 1989, he retired from the military. Reporting from Tigoni, Limuru in Kiambu County, Amnesty Imano. Years are gone by since the 1982 aborted coup that had targeted to overthrow President Moi from office. Lieutenant General Lazarus Sumbeyo and his late brother Elijah Sumbeyo, then the presidential escort commander, played a critical role in securing President Moi and quelling the attempted coup.
In 1982, I was posted to the Air Force. I was then at the rank of Major. I was promoted to a Lieutenant Colonel and was in charge of personnel.
Before cockcrow on the fateful August 1st, General Lazarus received a call from his late brother Elijah Sumbeyo, who was then the presidential escort commander.
So at 5 o'clock in the morning he rang. And that time there were no mobiles. We were using telephone. So I picked the phone and he said, "Are you still sleeping?" I said, "Yes, I'm still sleeping." He says, "No, don't sleep. The government has gone." I said, "Gone with who?"
General Lazarus then took off for State House immediately, together with 6 armed military soldiers.
I went to Cabernet, to the State House first, and then to Kabarak. And at Kabarak, I found Mzee very agitated.
When he got there, he immediately asked to communicate with the police headquarters, a thing that did not happen.
They say Nanyuki is not friendly. So I told him, say, let's get out of this house. We can be bombed. He said, no, I can I'll die in my house.
Mzee Moi refused to leave his State House aboard, but eventually convincing and relocating the president in 3 civilian cars with presidential escorts armed to the tooth.
My idea at that time was to connect with the military because they have a system of radios that used to join, we could join into any communication system. But unfortunately, one of the vehicles, the relay system, had an accident in Timboroa, and so we could not relay.
The army eventually neutralized the coup, and the president was taken to State House, Nairobi, where a presidential address had been planned for the President Moi to assure the country he was in charge.
Nataka niseme kwamba yale yaliyotokea leo asubuhi kwa muda mfupi iliyoletea wananchi wasiwasi mwingi sasa imeangamizwa na jeshi letu la nchi kavu na polisi.
From 1997 to 1999, Sumbeyo served as special envoy to IGAD for the Sudan peace process.
I want us to be patient. The parties have promised us that they will sign it today. I knew a little bit of what was going on. So in 1997, out of the blue, the late President Moi appoints me an ambassador and a special envoy. Not retired from the military, but given this job of carrying out mediation for the Sudanese.
General Lazaro Sumbeyo was the chief mediator of the Naivasha peace process, which sought to resolve the war between the Sudanese government and the Sudan People's Liberation Movement. In July 2002, he led the warring parties into signing the Machakos Protocol, a groundbreaking agreement on the difficult issues of self-determination for the South and separation of religion and state.
Put in a lot of nights without sleep and going to lengths to ensure that the people of that country got peace.
Lieutenant General retired Sumbeyo joined the Kenya Army in 1967 as a cadet officer.
My father had always wanted one of his sons to be in the army. Because my father himself was in the army in 1922 to 1934. And he wanted a son to feel how the army is.
Sumbeyo attended the prestigious Royal Military Academy Sandhurst and rose through the ranks to become the commander of the Kenya Army in 2000.
In 1999, I went to do my master's in international relations in Royal College of Defense Studies. When I came back to the army, I found a very different army, an army that had already deteriorated in discipline. They had lost touch with training, and so I had to think of how to revive this army.
At the time of his appointment, the armed forces was in the flux of changes initiated by the then Chief of General Forces, General Daudi Tonje.
By the time I left the army, it had trained. The army had proper equipment, had proper uniforms, and that's what the soldier is. And discipline had returned.
In addition to purpose and confidence, Sumbeyo brought another critical factor with him as Army commander. He brought the army back to basics.
Soldiers were in tatters. They were not the uniform they were wearing. Were torn and of low quality. And the boots were wearing were coming off, the heels were coming off. So nobody was serious about proper equipment.
Lieutenant General Sumbeyo was, in addition to being feared, deeply respected. Hence, he was referred to as ZT or Zulu Tango, meaning zero tolerance.
You must have heard the stories about the army, because when I was in the army, I had a nickname called Zulu Tango, zero tolerance. Officers in the army can attest that I think I made a difference. There was reform, total reform in the army.
Reporting for KBC from Lavington in Nairobi County, Amnesty Imano.
Graduation ceremony this Friday, 10th of June 2022. His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta will be the guest of honor during the pass-out parade to be held at NYS Training College in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 this Friday from 9 a.m. NYS, go on, be great. The National Youth Service will hold its pass-out graduation ceremony